I'm Ray Chubb, the host of We the People Uniting America, and I'm here with Barry Hess, Libertarian candidate for Governor of Arizona. Welcome. And we watched your debate with the other two candidates, and you had lots of great answers. Really enjoyed listening to you speak tonight. I just want to go over a few things, some of the things that you said, some of the things the other candidates said. I'd like to have you expand on those. Fred Duvall had mentioned that, quite a bit about expanding the budget, putting more funds into the school budget. Parents out there are seeing things like going to a PTSO meeting where they're finding that the teachers and the parents are voting on things like electronic devices that create a more of a game show style environment for the kids. And the reality is it's not improving the grade results. It's not improving the ability for the students to learn more or retain more information. And then they're holding paper drives for the parents to give money to the school to put paper in the schools. Can you respond to that, please?
Sure. I think you're right, and your intuition is right. That's why I think my idea of the competency test as the test will change everything, because it'll take the emphasis off the shiny little stuff that you want to get and all the cool toys, because all of us see them, and I'm a toy nut, so I'm not going to complain, because I do like all the buttons and the bells. But then when we start seeing them sold to our parents and through these parent-teacher organizations these days, they used to be associations, we see that they're selling the hype, and it doesn't have any end result. And my focus, like I said, is always going to be on the progress of the student, not on preserving the institutions of education. And the point is made, I'm amazed, because Fred wants to throw more and more money at it, and that's his thing. But you've got to look at the private school system here. That is literally the most expensive private school is half of what we're spending per student in the government schools, and that yet they had told us this nonsense about there's efficiency in volume. They got the volume, so pony up. Why are we last in the nation, or very nearly so? And that's what the heartbreaker is. And I think just by going to that competency test and saying, we don't care where you got your learning. We don't care if you're Abe Lincoln by the fireplace. We don't care. All we can say is, here's what you're capable of. That will change for an appreciation for education, where you learn just for the sake of learning. So because somebody put it in your head that it's valuable to learn, to read, to write, and to be able to critically think and express yourself. That one little step. And people go, well, that's such a simple step. The answer is not complicated. But they want it to be. They go, well, it's got to be 40 pages or else it's nothing. And I'm going, no, it's a sentence. That's what it is. It's like our tax code should be, a sentence. There isn't any, except on transactions. And of course, in line with that whole business proposition, the 4% on the gross of businesses, that gets all the regulators and the extra accountants out of the businesses and off the cost sheets. So it saves the businesses money. And by eliminating the taxes, the matches that they have to come up with as business, that eliminates it. I fully expect that should I become governor and get to implement these things as quickly as possible, you'll see a 50% drop in the costs of virtually all goods in the marketplace without actually costing the employers anything. And I think that's attractive to people. And if you want to bring businesses to Arizona, you just got to make the people smile and happy. If that doesn't do it, I don't know what will.
Thank you very much. And one question that I would have liked to ask Fred Duvall, if he had stuck around, is when John Mueller and yourself had both supported the decriminalization of cannabis and John Mueller of hemp, creating what he said was that he wanted to watch Colorado and watch Washington and see what would come out of that. My question to him, and I'd like you to respond to this, would be, how long would you watch Colorado and Washington for, and what exactly is it that you're looking for?
That's a really good question. Yay for you. I don't think we should. Fred, I think, was taking the cautious route because he doesn't want to commit either way. A lot of his contributions and contributors and supporters, they don't want that because it's going to interfere with a lot of other industries. But I think it's really interesting you would bring up how long are you going to watch and what are you looking for? Those are brilliant questions. I wouldn't be watching at all because it's a fundamental human right from my perspective that you have the right to do to or put into your body whatever you determine is best. Nobody else has the legitimate authority, nor could be given that authority to tell you can't. Now, at the same time, I would caution you'd be 100% responsible for what your body does at all times, and there wouldn't be a diminished capacity defense if you committed a crime or caused harm. But most people are willing to live with that common sense, just don't hurt anybody. And I think what Fred was looking at was a way not to answer the question, quite honestly. Whereas mine is a human rights, this is stupid, it's this whole drug war nonsense, has done nothing but wreck America and destroy and pull families apart, and a lot of people killed wrong warrants, for crying out loud. And I should say, I've been a speaker for NORML and for the legalization, but not for medical marijuana, because I don't think it should be limited at all. It should be a matter of right, and then you get in, that's the cannabis. But then the hemp side, that's manufacturing. That's a whole different ball game. And there's a lot of opposition to that, too, because the cotton and everything else that it can displace with a crop that grows every 3 months, you can get 4 growing seasons a year. And like Henry Ford, he had 10,000 cars on the road, 40,000 cars on the road running off 10,000 acres of hemp just from the oil, using it as a fuel. And it burns 10 times cleaner than crude. So it becomes an economics aspect, and whereas as a libertarian, I don't care. Whoever gets hurt because the market changes. But somebody else, they can retrain.
I only have time for one more question, so I want to make it good. Let me pick the one.
Brevity is not a word found in the Libertarian dictionary.
Some would say that young adults are being corralled into trade schools, community colleges, and universities, and they're walking out with a tremendous amount of debt as a new employee.
Absolutely.
Creates a whole lot of burden, a whole lot of stress on the citizen and the new employee. Is there, in your opinion, Barry, or Mr. Hess, that there might be another way of giving people the skills that they need to be successful at a job without resulting in heavy debt?
Exactly, and that's exactly what my plan is to make sure that we can take care of teaching the fundamentals, the reading, writing, math, science, critical thinking skills, logic, mastering those. That would be our government education. Beyond that, be encouraging the corporate world. If somebody needs skills, you want to go to work for Motorola, you'll go to Motorola's electronics school. And now Motorola has an investment in you because they don't want to keep rolling over employees. So they're going to pay you better. You're going to have a better relationship, and you got skills. If you ever decided to go, you got skills to go with you. That's why a competency test ends all of the nonsense, the throwaway money on education stuff, because it really, I mean, the point is well made that when the private schools here, literally half as much as we spend on our government schools per student. There's something fundamentally wrong there because the results are hugely different.
Now, I'm going to try to squeeze in one more question here, just real quick. You said that you're opposed to SB 1070.
Right.
However, the people voted that in. What do you think that, whether you support it or not, what do you think the people were trying to say by voting it in?
I think the people were scared by voting it in, and they didn't know what it was, because all it was a database on all of us. It wasn't just to get our little brown brothers from south of the border, which is what they sold it as a hate mechanism. I was against it because of, first, I don't want to be on the list, and that list is already proven true. It was already violated. Incidentally, recently, after 7 years, it was found out they had a Chinese national who took all of our information. All of your personal information was in that database. He took it home with him. And so I was totally against 1070 for that, and the constitutional reasons that have already come to light. We already said this is what's going to happen. The people behind it knew that was what was going to happen. They wanted to make money on the fight. That's how they get the hype up. Send me money, help us. We got to support 1070. We can send us money. And whereas all you got to do is say no. And 1062, the same thing. I think I explained on stage why is isolating one little piece of a right that you have the right to refuse to provide or do business with anybody at any time for any reason that you think is right, religious, you hate gays or whatever your deal is, doesn't matter. And yet they wanted to isolate this one little thing And that was repugnant not only to our Constitution, but also to every principle this country was founded on. And it actually, what it was a double-sided coin. If it had gone through, then they would say, well, the other ones have to go through individually too. Whereas, no, I'll go with your whim. Just be decent to people, and anybody who doesn't want your business because you wear purple or something, they don't get your business. They're not really smart in business, obviously.
I want to thank you very much for your time and all your answers. I want to wish you luck in your race.
We can use your support. Everybody counts.
Where can we find you online?
Hess4governor.com is our website. Also on Facebook, just look up Barry Hess. There's Barry Hess for Governor 2014 and Barry Hess.
Thank you again.
You get to learn about.
Thank you, sir.
again.
Good luck to you.